Hey guys, in today's video, back at the office again, and today we're going to talk about networking, why this is probably the very best way to meet yourself a quality Filipina. Stick around, we're going to discuss it. All right, nice day out today, beautiful pool, definitely looks inviting. But yeah, I had just discussed this with a buddy of mine, and he was talking to me and he was telling me, yeah, not really having a whole lot of luck with the dating apps. And he's like, in the cold approach of just walking up to a Filipina or trying to meet one at the mall or wherever is kind of hard because he's a bit of an introvert. And he told me, he said, you know what? This was just a couple of days ago. He said, I finally met somebody. And I was like, oh, okay. So what dating app or how did you meet her? And he said, oh, introduction from a friend of mine that I met, an expat, him and his wife. And the wife said, well, you know what? I have a friend who's looking for a nice guy. Let me introduce you. And so I guess he came over for dinner and they brought her along, kind of like not really a blind date. He was able to see a picture of her beforehand. She saw a picture of him and they decided, sure, we'll at least meet. And he's as happy as can be, and hopefully it will turn out into something great. Just reminded me of really how this is really one of the best ways to meet a quality Filipina, because they've already kind of been vetted by your friend or his wife. And you know, looking back in my experience, I've always had people just trying to set me up. Like I've had friends, expat friends, who said, oh, we have a friend of my wife. She's like a family member, you know, she's looking for a good quality guy. I don't want to introduce her unless you're looking for something serious. And, you know, at different times in my life, I may have said, well, you know, it's probably not a good idea. I'm not really looking for anything serious right now. Or there was times where I was looking for something serious and ended up dating based on their introduction. And sometimes even Filipinos will introduce you. In fact, sometimes they're mystified why you're single here. In fact, if you've been here too long and you're single, it brings up you're like a red flag to them. You being single for a long time, they're like, how long have you been here? A year? Why are you single? It almost like their spidey sense goes off and they're like, why are you still single after being a year here? They don't really kind of get the whole, I just want to be single, I'm happy being single movement that we have in the West. They don't really understand, why would anybody want to be single? I mean, the whole purpose of life is to meet somebody and have children. That's kind of their outlook on things. But yeah, different times of my life, I've had even Filipinos. Like I remember going to a barber in Davao, and I would literally go see him about every 10 days because I did a fade, a skin tight fade on the sides and left a little bit on top. And so I would go back every 10 days, and I think it was around the third time when he started feeling a little more comfortable with me, seeing me on a semi-regular basis. He was like, you know what, my sister's single. And I remember thinking, would this be a good idea if the sister and I met and then things didn't work out? Well, then I need to go find a new barber because I like this barber. He does a good job. So I don't remember exactly what my thinking was at the time, but I never ended up meeting the sister. But I know he kept bugging me about it quite a few times. And there was times where I worked, when I was working in Cebu, that you know, some co-workers would say, why are you single? Oh, I have a friend who's looking for a foreigner. And so this honestly can be some of the best ways to meet a quality Filipina. In fact, if I was a single guy coming out here, and in fact, you could start even from the US, you could join, I don't know, an expat group, maybe create some friendships with some expats before coming out here, and just, hey, does your girlfriend or your wife, or do you know any single Filipinas looking? It could be from Filipinos. Filipinos, believe it or not, are a fantastic resource. It takes a little bit of time, though. You need to have some kind of pattern going. For example, maybe you're going to a restaurant that is a particular favorite of yours, and you're going back literally every other day. You're grabbing a lunch there or something. Maybe the third or fourth time you can start to say, hey, yeah, I live here. You know, you start to have conversations with the waitresses or the host or whoever, and you can start saying, you know, I live here now and looking to meet a nice Filipina. Do you have any single friends that are looking? And you'll be surprised. Not only that, you get to that point where you've been going back for a while, they're actually very curious. They're going to start asking you questions. Oh, so do you live here? Are you just on vacation? Oh, do you have a wife? Oh, you don't have a wife. They're always mystified when you say you're single. It's like they think they'll look at your age and say, why is this person single? Or if you've been here too long, why is this person still single? Like I said, they start to think, okay, is this guy a chick boy, a social butterfly? You know, he's been here a year. That backfired on me many times when I was here living. After I'd been here a while, they would say stuff like, you've been here so long and you still haven't met the right one? They don't really quite get the whole dating thing like we do in the West. You know, for us, again, dating here and dating in the West, completely different. Here you date and you're with that person. The whole reason you're dating is because you're going to enter into a relationship with them and eventually marriage. There is not really casual dating. There's not dating just, you know, in the terms, we think of it in terms as, okay, I'm going to go out on a date with her, go on a second, maybe a third, fourth date. And during that time, I'm learning about her and deciding whether I would want a relationship with her. In the Philippines, it really almost starts on date one that you're really entering into a relationship. Why else would you have a date with them? You don't date to get to know somebody. Not here so much. You date because you're going to enter into a relationship with them. And you're almost exclusive on date one. So there's going to be some area of not connecting. The lines aren't connecting between her thought process and your thought process during this time of dating. So you kind of have to be a little bit clear. If you're not looking to settle down or get serious, then you need to kind of be clear with that. But again, if you're a guy coming out here and you want to find somebody, meet some other expats, get to be friends with some, maybe find out if they have a friend of the family, or if their wife has a good friend or a sister or a cousin who's single and looking. That could be a great opportunity. Now, what you don't want to do is use a friend, a family member, or a Filipino that you maybe, like I said, if you're going to the same barber like I did and he referred somebody, you don't want to use that as an opportunity to meet somebody for casual dating. If you're looking for casual dating, better just to try to cold approach people or simply meet online if you want to do the casual dating. You don't want to use somebody like a friend or a fellow expat for casual dating, or a Filipino that's referring somebody to you. That's not a good way. I mean, you'll be surprised that you could go to a fruit and veggie vendor and maybe you stop at this particular vendor to buy your apples. I had one, I don't know, like a year ago, 6 months ago, I can't remember, that I would always stop at that place in particular, and buy like vegetables whenever Maya say, hey, we need garlic, we need onions, can you pick some up on the way home? And I would stop and grab some. And I think like the third or fourth time, the owner, an older lady, she's like, you live here? And I was like, yeah, live here. And she's like, I have a daughter that is single and looking for a nice foreigner man like you. And I had to say, sorry, I'm married, but that's just an example. a vendor that I would just buy some garlic and onions and fruit and things, you know. You start to do a pattern where you're starting to frequent a certain place and see the same Filipino person multiple times. They might start to get curious. They might start asking you, hey, what's going on? You single? Well, I've got all kinds of friends and family and relatives that I could hook you up with. So, yeah, networking. Networking could probably be one of the best ways, really, to meet somebody. So, try it out. It's something you could even do before even coming out here by joining an expat group or some kind of Facebook group in the Philippines that maybe you're just kind of meeting friends. And if that doesn't work, there's always the dating sites, and one I recommend, there is a link in the description, guys. And don't forget, if you are moving or traveling out to the Philippines and you need help with finding a place to stay, where to visit, where to stay, what to do, any kind of questions, or moving out here, then that opens up a whole lot more questions. Well, I have a free checklist for moving or traveling out to the Philippines on my website, geointhephilippines.com. You download it, print it, or save it for free. And if you need further help, you can book a consultation one-on-one with me, and you can book that right through my website. You can also book a hotel. All the hotels I highly recommend for across the Philippines, the ones that I've personally stayed at that I can vouch for. And all the things that you will need for traveling or living out in the Philippines, check it out on my Geo Travel Essentials. All the things I personally use myself. Thank you guys for watching. Questions, comments, let's have that conversation down below, and I'll see everyone next time. Ciao.